go.
Don't do that.
No, Jason, run. Shut up.
Get on. Hey! Yeah.
A hunting clip captures a beginner aiming at a black bear resting in a tree while a mentor signals where and when to shoot. The first shot doesn't bring the animal down, forcing a second attempt.
Shoot him again. Shoot him again. Good job.
Even then, the bear astonishingly keeps climbing before finally losing strength and falling. Believing the danger has passed, another hunter approaches on foot, but the situation turns critical almost instantly.
Good job. Good job. Oh my God.
Known for their power and endurance, black bears can remain dangerous even when injured, and frantic calls for help suggest the animal may still be attacking. What followed was never officially confirmed. Moments like this highlight how quickly control can be lost in the wild, and whether poor shot placement or rushed decisions escalated the risk. Do you think this outcome was unavoidable, or could different choices have prevented what happened next? A brief clip shows first-time campers from Colombia startled when a black bear wanders straight into their campsite after they leave food out in the open. Realizing their mistake, they try to scare the animal away by making loud noises. The bear seems wary but refuses to leave at first, lingering despite their efforts. After several tense moments, it finally retreats. The encounter highlights how quickly simple mistakes can attract wildlife, and how easily a situation like this could have escalated. A video shows two men walking along a forest trail, searching for a place to rest and set up camp.
There you go, folks. Look at sidearms on his right hip, and he's holding a bucket in his right hand. That's gonna slow him down. Look at there, he's got it in the right hand now.
One of them records the hike, casually pointing out details as they move forward. Without warning, movement erupts from the bushes ahead.
We got something, folks. There, he's charging. Hey!
And a massive bear suddenly charges toward them. After a brief but terrifying advance, the animal pulls back into the brush. The men slowly retreat, backing away while staying alert in case the bear reappears. Tension hangs as they try to reach a more open area without provoking another charge.
We gotta get in the open. Bear's charging.
Help us. Whoa, don't run, don't run. Slow, Derek.
Give up.
In the end, they manage to escape the encounter without injury and make it back to safety, leaving behind a moment that could have ended very differently. On a sunny day in Valewater, South Africa, a safari drive turns tense when a hippo begins approaching the vehicle from behind.
Ek dink daai
Vlak
pile
bietjie Isak.
kyk of ons hom hier kan in. Hou maar net in die eerste hoor.
Sal jy sê as jy kan ry?
At first, the group records the sight, assuming it's harmless and keeping their distance. Within seconds, the situation shifts as the animal suddenly charges, forcing them to accelerate to escape. They manage to gain enough speed for the hippo to abandon the chase.
Kom maar bietjie.
Ending the encounter without injury. Hippos are known to be highly territorial and unpredictable, especially on roads that cut through their space, which may explain the sudden aggression. But did the group wait too long before moving? Or was this simply an unavoidable reaction from an animal defending its territory? Tourists at Madikwe Private Game Lodge record a tense encounter after accidentally startling a protective mother leopard. The animal bluff charges and issues clear warnings.
Yeah.
Creating a frightening standoff. After about a minute, the leopard loses interest and retreats into the bushes. Such moments show how maternal instincts can drive sudden aggression. But did the tourists get too close? Or was this an unavoidable reaction in the wild? A couple hiking along a narrow trail suddenly come face to face with a brown bear.
Bear. Hello, bear. It's coming.
Instead of panicking, they calmly make their presence known by speaking, a key step to avoid startling the animal.
Right at us. Will I move down the trail? Nope. Stop moving. 2 bears.
As the encounter continues, they slowly move off the trail to give the bear space, carefully following proper bear safety guidance.
Okay. We're going to this side. You'll be okay with that.
The tension remains high as the bear watches them closely, but after a few long moments, it chooses to move on and disappears from view. Situations like this show how calm behavior and correct training can reduce risk. But would the outcome have been the same if the hikers had reacted differently under pressure? A group of 15 campers watch an alarm as a bear approaches their campsite.
Hey, stay back! Hey! Hey, everybody be loud, please.
Seemingly unfazed by loud shouting and attempts to scare it away.
Loud, please. Hey, back!
When the animal continues forward, the person filming uses bear spray as a last resort, stopping the bear instantly.
Back! Back! Hey! Back! Back! Go! Go!
The moment shows how bold some bears can become around camps, and raises the question of what might have happened if that final defense hadn't worked. Posted in February 2018, a video shows tourists spotting a black bear near the bushes and filming from their vehicle. One man then steps out to get closer, a decision he quickly regrets as the situation turns dangerous. And the footage cuts off while he flees. The moment underscores how poorly bears tolerate close human attention, and how easily curiosity can become a serious mistake. A family driving through the Great Smoky Mountains encounters a brown bear that initially ignores their vehicle and keeps to itself.
In the window.
Tension rises when the animal suddenly wanders uncomfortably close, prompting nervous reactions inside the car.
No, Mila.
No, Jason, like, oh my God.
Fortunately, the bear loses interest and moves on. Bears often approach vehicles out of curiosity rather than aggression, but close proximity always carries risk. If the bear had been more curious, or food scents were involved, would this calm moment have turned dangerous? A clip from Pennsylvania shows a black bear trying to enter a college dormitory. A student reacts instantly, slamming the door shut as the animal lingers outside without obvious aggression. Bears often approach buildings out of curiosity or food sense, and quick decisions can make the difference. Was this bear harmlessly exploring, or did that moment of hesitation avoid a far more dangerous outcome? A hunter records a black bear climbing a tree, but once the animal notices him, it quickly descends and begins approaching out of curiosity. As the tension rises, the hunter fires a warning shot, causing the bear to retreat.
No. You better get.
Bears often investigate unfamiliar threats before reacting, which can quickly become dangerous at close range. Was the warning shot the safest choice? Or could a different reaction have prevented the encounter altogether? This encounter opens with fishermen spearfishing in the deep blue waters of Australia's Coral Sea, as one diver struggles to reel in a speared fish, while a larger fish attempts to steal it. At first, the situation seems manageable, but it quickly escalates when more predators arrive. Moments later, the diver filming faces a sudden shock as sharks join the feeding frenzy just feet away. Despite the chaos, the group remains remarkably calm until the activity finally subsides and they swim away unharmed. Shark frenzies are often triggered by injured prey and rapid movement, which may explain how quickly the situation spiraled. But if panic had set in, or one wrong move had been made, would this encounter have ended very differently? A clip captures a bear advancing toward two terrified hikers as they shout and try to scare it away. Despite repeated attempts, the animal continues forward, standing its ground and showing body language that suggests it may attack. The tense standoff lasts only seconds before the hikers decide to respond with bear spray.
Hey! Wait till he gets close for the bear spray. Hey! Ah!
The footage cuts off abruptly, leaving the outcome unknown. Bears often interpret shouting as a challenge rather than a deterrent, which may explain the escalation. Did using the spray stop the encounter, or did this situation end in a far more serious way than the video reveals? Two men driving through a snowy mountain region are stunned when they unexpectedly encounter a snow leopard along the road. What begins as a scenic view quickly changes as the animal steps into frame and calmly walks toward their vehicle. Despite their shock, they continue recording as the predator lingers just inches away, closely inspecting them without breaking eye contact. The encounter lasts nearly 2 minutes before the snow leopard finally loses interest and walks off.
ये हमारे Campground में
Snow leopards are rarely seen this close, and curiosity rather than aggression may explain its behavior. But if the animal had felt threatened or decided to test the vehicle, would this rare moment have turned into something far more dangerous? A group of tourists riding in an open truck film a tiger from what seems like a safe distance, capturing calm footage as the animal moves nearby.
आ रही है अपने ऊपर अपने पे आ रही है
धीरे-धीरे आ रही है रुको
The situation changes instantly when the tiger suddenly charges, reminding them just how fast these predators can be.
चुप रहना कुकुर।
आगे अरे निकाल।
The animal narrowly misses the vehicle as the driver accelerates, continuing to flee even after the tiger disappears from view. Tigers can switch from observation to pursuit in seconds, especially when vehicles slow or hesitate. If they hadn't reacted immediately, or stopped too soon, would this encounter have ended far more violently? In another encounter, hunters severely underestimate the danger of wildlife when they enter the woods for hog hunting, armed only with single-shot rifles. What they expect to be controlled quickly turns chaotic as the wild boars evade the shots and begin charging back at them. Within seconds, multiple boars rush the hunters, forcing them to fire in panic with little effect. Wild hogs are fast, aggressive, and highly adaptable, especially when threatened, which may explain how quickly the situation escalated. But was this simply poor preparation, or a reminder that overconfidence in the wild can turn a hunt into a fight for survival? A man cycling along a quiet road decides to move closer to a large brown bear that's minding its own business. As he quietly approaches from behind, the animal suddenly becomes aware of him and reacts on instinct, launching into a bluff charge. Panic sets in as the rider realizes how badly he misjudged the situation, believing for a moment it could be his last ride.
No, no, no!
Holy sh... Just got bluff charged by that bear. I guess it was a bit close.
Fortunately, the bear stops short and does not pursue. Bluff charges are meant to warn, not attack, but getting that close removes all margin for error. If the bear had decided to follow through, would this reckless decision have ended very differently? In Western Canada, a dog owner watches from inside his home as a mountain lion prowls his driveway and is confronted by his 2 dogs. At first, the cougar appears to be assessing the area, while a husky tries to drive it off. Unfazed, the predator continues circling until a German shepherd joins in, forcing the animal to constantly reposition as it looks for an escape. Mountain lions often test threats before committing, especially when cornered or outnumbered. The recording ends before the outcome is known. But did the dogs manage to push it away, or did the situation escalate once the camera stopped rolling? A wounded grizzly wanders onto a busy road as a ranger attempts to stop traffic and calm the frightened animal. Without warning, the bear suddenly charges toward him despite its injury.
Shut up.
Get on video.
I am. Oh my gosh.
It stops at the last moment, and the ranger fires a blank round to scare it off. Injured bears are highly unpredictable, so what might have happened if that charge hadn't ended when it did? A woman faces a terrifying situation when a bear appears on the trail while her dog wanders dangerously close to it. Holding bear spray, she steps forward to assess the threat, but chaos erupts as her dog darts around trying to escape the animal. In the confusion, she struggles to line up the spray before the encounter spirals further. Dogs can easily trigger a bear's chase instinct, turning seconds into a life-or-death moment. If her timing had been off by even a little, would this near miss have ended very differently? A man steps out to grab something from his car, unaware he's about to encounter a bear for the first time. While leaning inside the vehicle, a curious young cub suddenly appears and bites his ankle. Clearly causing pain, yet showing no fear at all. The man tries to scare it off, but the cub only moves closer, forcing him to retreat back into his car as the clip abruptly ends. Young bears can be unpredictable, especially when curiosity overrides fear. But where there's a cub, a mother is often nearby. So what might have happened moments after the camera stopped recording? A hunter films a black bear behaving unusually aggressive, pacing and circling instead of retreating as most black bears do. When the animal climbs a small rise and begins walking directly toward him, the tension spikes.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Hey, hey, I'm gonna shoot you.
Moments later, the reason becomes clear. The bear is protecting nearby cubs. Mother bears will ignore fear and confront far larger threats to defend their young.
Hey! Knock it off!
Thankfully, the situation de-escalates and the bears eventually move off. But if the cubs had been closer, or the hunter had stood his ground longer, would this protective instinct have led to a far more dangerous outcome? A bear is filmed sitting and scratching itself after tearing through what looks like a pile of garbage, while hunters watch from inside their cars, assuming they're safe. That sense of security is misleading, since a bear this size could easily damage a vehicle if it chose to. For several minutes, the animal seems uninterested, focused only on sniffing and grooming. Then it suddenly notices the people filming and makes an unexpected bluff charge toward them. The group laughs in relief afterward, realizing how close the moment came. Bears often bluff to warn rather than attack. But if that warning had been ignored, would the outcome have stayed harmless? Tourists approach a massive bison grazing in Yellowstone National Park, assuming the encounter is harmless.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The animal soon becomes agitated, and attempts to back away only seem to escalate the tension. Bison often react defensively when people get too close. Fortunately, it stops and leaves. But if it had charged, would anyone have had time to escape? Tourists film themselves petting a male lion during the day, assuming its calm behavior means it's safe. Without warning, the lion suddenly lunges, forcing someone to slam the window shut as the group freezes in fear. Lions may tolerate humans briefly, but that tolerance can disappear in seconds. If the window hadn't closed in time, how different could this moment have been? Posted in September 2021, a Florida man is filmed confronting an alligator using only a garbage bin. The animal initially retreats as he pushes the bin toward it, eventually guiding it back to the lake and releasing it. Alligators can strike with little warning, making encounters like this extremely risky. Was this controlled bravery or a reckless move that nearly ended in disaster? Tourists scream in panic as a drunk man is seen trapped inside a lion enclosure, desperately trying to fend off the predators. As the lions move closer, he throws rocks to keep them at bay, turning the scene into a terrifying standoff watched by horrified bystanders. Lions often react aggressively when they sense a threat or territorial intrusion, which makes the situation even more dangerous. Moments later, people above throw down a rope, allowing the man to climb out and escape. But if help hadn't arrived in time, would this reckless mistake have ended in tragedy? Tourists film a tiger from their vehicle when it suddenly charges without warning. They speed up to create distance, but the animal continues trailing them before surging again.
He is not used to it. He is not used to the vehicle.
Oh my god, he's up. Oh my god, he's gonna jump on us.
बस धीरे धीरे बढ़ाता रहो धीरे धीरे बस रोक लो
Tigers are capable hunters, making encounters like this extremely dangerous. If their vehicle hadn't been fast enough, how differently could this have ended? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.